going. Welcome back to the Movie Whale Marathon. I'm Andrew.
I'm Mac.
And what are we watching today, Mac?
We're watching Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet.
Fantastic movie.
Yes, it is, and it's not part of any series. So what are we doing? We'll never tell you. It's just for fun. This is the movie we watched. This is the episode you listened to, and you know that this week we weren't able to record whatever it is we're watching.
Yeah. No, if you're hearing this, something has gone wrong. So
one of us is dead.
That would be really terrible. If it was true.
It'd be so. Well, see, it's funny though, because if I'm the one who dies, it won't go up because you won't have access.
True.
You won't have access to the
so
files.
If you're hearing this, I am dead.
Mac has died. As well as possible. Anyway, Treasure Planet. So, I'm gonna speak for both of us right now, just for a second. 'Tis a whale. We can skip all the way to the end. 'Tis a whale. This movie is so good, and
so good.
I said this when we watched Toy Story recently. I'm sorry, I'm hopping right in. I won't talk long, but I got to get all this out because I've been holding on to it because you forgot to watch it last week. I had not really sat down and watched this critically. Like I've seen it many times and I love it and I know it's good and I know why it's good, but I had never really given it that extra attention. And it's so good. And I have come around, in a way, on my opinion of the live action, which still doesn't exist. Because I have felt, up until recently, which you've heard to no end, because this was our first marathon, that the Disney live action reboots weren't inherently bad to begin with. They got lazier. But now, I think the reason they haven't done Treasure Planet is not because they're unaware of the public outcry for it. It's because they're fucking cowards. They know they can't do it justice. They know they can't bring it to life the right way. As I don't think it'd be hard, honestly, I don't. But they know they can't do it, so they're not gonna even attempt.
I will be honest, the movie is so beautiful that they would have to spend on their special effects budget because you have to have those landscapes, like the spacescapes, I guess. It's just gorgeous. The stars, the way that they make the ships actually feel like they're tangibly moving through that space. What a cool idea to be like, let's tell Treasure Island, but put it in space. And instead of going with spaceships, we're just going to have regular naval ships in space. And how does that work? It just does. And it looks gorgeous. And everyone is like, that's fine because it looks great.
It looks amazing.
And it's amazing.
It's so good. So I have like a weird relationship with this movie, like so many of these Disney ones, because I didn't see this until I was like at least a tween. It was a trailer in one of my VHS tapes, so I knew of it, and I was enchanted by this mysterious little VHS trailer. Because, like, despite the early 2000s and how trailers very often just showed you the whole movie to get you to care, this was actually like a well-done trailer. Like, it was vague, it was dramatic. It just opens with the solar. Right, what's his surfboard? There's a name for it.
Oh yeah.
Wind riders. Solar board. She says it. His mom says it. I know what it is.
He built his first one at like 7 or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Like he built his first sun sail thing when he was 8. Whatever. I don't know. But it was him doing that, flying through the air and being dramatic, and then it ends with him like activating the sphere and the hologram, and it had the shot of the spaceport. It was amazing. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I know the name Treasure Planet. The added layer to this little relationship is this: I had never heard of Treasure Island. I did not know the classic, so I just thought this was an amazing idea. This is a fun movie. Then I had heard and learned of Treasure Island, and found that incredibly boring in comparison because if you start with Treasure Planet, like
I knew about Treasure Island before Treasure Planet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess to be more honest, I probably knew about them more or less simultaneously, and I didn't realize the connection between them until I think I had seen both movies. Where I'm going here is I actually did not read, kind of surprisingly, I did not read Treasure Island when I was a kid. That
I
was
am
not one of the
surprised by
books that was on the shelves. And I think I had a whole like collection of like classic kids literature. It had like Peter Pan, it had Robin Hood, all that stuff. For some reason, Treasure Island was not on there. And I had seen the Muppet movie,
Oh my god.
Treasure.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I did not get the connections right away until I think I was watching the Muppet movie after I was more familiar with Treasure Planet. Because Treasure Planet, once I saw that, I loved it, and I watched it multiple times.
Heck
And I
yeah.
ended up rewatching the Muppet version, and I realized that the opening scenes are almost identical. And I was like, "What is happening here? I don't understand."
Mm-hmm. You didn't know they were the same thing at first? Just
I didn't. I figured out that they were the same thing by encountering both versions of the adaptations and not the original text. And then I went back and I read the original text because it bothered me that I hadn't read the original.
Nice.
And you're right, it's not as interesting.
Yeah, I can just picture little like 6-year-old you like, something ain't right here. One of these is ripping off the other. And
Yeah,
I'm partial towards the frog, but like I just that's really funny. That neither of us knew of Treasure Island before going into this. We'd be willing to bet though that's most kids because it's surprising that you didn't read Treasure Island. It's not
Agreed.
surprising that other kids haven't, I would imagine. But I
will say, I think the book, if you haven't encountered Treasure Planet yet, I think Treasure Island, the book, is a pretty decent read. It's nothing crazy special, but it was kind of a pioneer in young adult literature because it was written for young readers, particularly young guys, to read it and have an adventure with someone that was their age with pirates, right? Like that was very intentional by the author. So it is cool to see that reinterpreted in Treasure Planet because it's definitely it's a movie designed for kids. But it also includes some more of the the heavier duty content. It's got like straight up murder, like a bunch of stuff.
That's another layer. I had an action figure of Mr. Arrow that I got from a garage sale, and I didn't know who it was. I just thought it was a cool little rock monster that was smartly dressed. And then I watched the movie, and I was like, hey, I've got that guy. And then that guy died, and I was like, shit. The kid equivalent, of course, but I didn't know who this little dude was for the longest time, and then there he is, great big rock monster.
That's really funny.
Yeah,
his toy came to life.
Yeah, I just had it. He was just part of the gang back in the day.
I'm actually also surprised that you just found a toy for Treasure Planet.
I think it was a McDonald's toy back when McDonald's toys were good.
Oh.
There was a brief time when we were kids, small rant, where like they had like good toys, like real toys, action figures and stuff, and they probably did promotional stuff when it came out in 2002, and that's where it's from.
Yeah,
I'm willing to put money on it.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what's interesting about the fact that you found a toy, because Treasure Planet and Atlantis: The Lost Empire came from the same, I want to say studio, or at least the same like area from Disney's animation, and they were intentionally sabotaged by their studio because the animation costs were too high. Which, when we get to Atlantis, I want to talk about because that's really funny from what I've learned about kid movie market. But this movie in particular is so good, but you can see why it's expensive. There's so much detail and attention. I mean, every landscape is beautiful. They land on Treasure Planet. It doesn't need to have that much texture. It doesn't need to look that beautiful. Yeah. But it does.
You want to talk about some unnecessary shit that's fantastic and does really well. I made a mental note of this because I don't write down notes anymore. I'm not in school. But like hopping all over the place. When they get to Treasure Planet and the pirates all leave the mess hall and Jim is sneaking out, and Silver's up on the deck, and he's like, "Where's my glass?" He's looking for his telescope. The next scene is looking at the table of the spyglass, and we see Jim getting out of the barrel in the reflection of the glass. Beautiful!
Yes.
Oh, like all you had to do
so
was
good.
show in the same shot Jim getting out of the barrel, and on the table next to him was the spyglass. But no, art. Oh, it's so good.
No, and I write down my notes because
I know you do.
I'm an educated person who forgets
Hey.
things. And
Anyway,
my fourth note is that the framing and the angles in it are so good. Like the reason I wrote this down was it was when Ben, the old like turtle dude, was dying and giving the
Bones.
Yeah, Bones. That's the
Ben
one.
is the robot.
And you're right. All right. Old scary.
So
turtle
much
dude,
for
whose
your
name I didn't
notes,
write down,
educated
and therefore I
person.
forgot.
But yeah, when Billy Bones comes down,
Yeah, and he's like talking about how dangerous the cyborg is and how the cyborg can't get it. His jaw completely overlaps Jim's face in that shot. And like just the way that they're framed. Like they could have had them just close together, but no, they have like jaws going over his face, which is it's very threatening. It looks like he's gonna bite his head off. And it's that level of detail that it's really thoughtful. It's so cool.
So yeah, I mean, and then of course, just on top of that, like the little effects of this animated movie, the incorporation of CGI and the glowing effects of the map and the holograms and just all of it, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And like the transition scene between being in Delbert's study and then to the spaceport, like it's just you just think it's the moon for a second, but no, it's this incredible crescent-shaped space island. I can't think of anything that immediately compares to something that fun and cool in like any other sci-fi movie I've seen. We've got Bespin, and we've got the City of a Thousand Planets, and we've got Yorktown and Star Trek Beyond. None of them are as interesting or as cool as that crescent-shaped spaceport filled with all these Victorian space pirates or whatever. Like it's so cool. I love it. And I'm always like looking whenever we get there for like Easter eggs and stuff, but like this is before those times. So it's just it's just aliens and robots that they drew for fun. Like nothing is a reference to anything. And
especially Rich World, they really just kind of said draw aliens.
Yeah.
And they went for it, and they all look different and cool, and yet it is believable that they all exist in the same world.
Yes.
The steampunk aesthetic that they establish for this world is so strong, where it just you get the sense that these people have been using this technology for generations, and maybe a lot of them don't really even know how it functions. They just know how to use it. And that's such a cool thing to set up. So by the time you get to Treasure Planet, that like really kicks into gear with like it's a very advanced that nobody is familiar with, and so it's basically magic. That's so cool. Cool.
It's all so cool, and we are all over the place. But there's I don't know how to cohesively talk about this movie because I just want to hop back and forth between the things that I really enjoy, because it's all good. Like I love Delbert so much. I think he's hilarious. He is the funniest guy in this whole movie. Like my favorite jokes are the ones that he does. First, I love the whole the sentimental moment between him and Sarah when he's trying to convince her that they need to go to Treasure Planet, and he's just like excited to go. But then later when he's trying to help the captain after she's injured and she's getting delirious, he's like, "You have beautiful eyes." She's lost her mind. Like he can't for one believe that he has beautiful eyes. And then the Star Trek reference right after that where it's like, "Dang it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a doctor." Like, "Oh, I mean, I have a doctorate, but I'm not an actual doctor. Like, I have a PhD, I have a doctorate. You can't do anything with doctorate. You just sit there and you're useless." Which is so funny.
It's amazing. I feel both the panic and the frustration, and like I'm not someone who like at that moment I feel like I can relate to like how useless he feels, and I'm like, I don't even have like any kind of doctorate. Like,
yeah, academia out there in the field, it's useless.
He's
nothing. His comedic timing throughout this movie is absolutely fantastic. But he's also, I find him a very heartfelt, wonderful character. That he's kind of like Jim's weird uncle, who's also not completely. He says that line that he's useless, but they do kind of illustrate fairly early on that he's not. Like, he's a significant part in how they survive the black hole. He's coming up with things. He's there. He's like, he wastes no time trying to help Jim, trying to help the captain when she's injured. Like, he's a good character. He's a good dude. I like him.
No, he's a fantastic character. I feel like maybe that would be a good way to organize this. It's just all the characters are written so precisely and so well.
Yes.
You know, like one of my first notes was that they are constantly making character choices. The characters are always reacting in a unique way that only their character would react like, and it's very cool to watch that kind of like play out on screen. There's I love it when animation takes the time to have micro expressions, or like give, like, you know, it's not super important, but in the back, two characters are exchanging looks to communicate how they are feeling about what is being said. Like the little acting choices that, strictly speaking, don't have to be there, but build character. They're all over the place in this movie, and it's amazing.
And not just like with their faces, but like they do that with Silver's mechanical eye. And like it could be super subtle, but it's still there. Like he as well, just like character-wise, written-wise, all great, but like visually, I love the cyborg steampunk aesthetic. I've always loved his arm and how the little sequence where he cooks up the soup the first time he meets Jim. I'm obsessed with that. It's so much fun.
I actually ended up focusing a lot on Silver, just like in this rewatch, because I think I had forgotten how well they demonstrate the affection that he has for Jim and the fact that he's still a pirate, right? And it really is up until that last minute, unless you're counting on the fact that it's a Disney movie, where you don't know what decision he's going to make, right? Because you can tell that he genuinely cares for Jim, and he's compromising the plan multiple times just to try and keep him safe. He confronts his crew the moment they start to pick fights with him. Like he's very much, he likes this kid and he wants to have him around, you know, but it's and they show you that, like, they don't make that a twist or anything. They show you right away that he is a traitor.
I was gonna say,
the captain. And that allows you as the audience to follow the fact that he is dealing with that conflict, rather than trying to use just the shock value of, oh, this guy you thought was nice is actually a terrible pirate who's trying to steal your treasure. They lean into this is a character in conflict who doesn't know what he's going to choose. And that actually works really well for your understanding of Jim's story too, because Jim really needs someone to believe him and pick him, right? He needs that. And he has his mom, Sarah, and he has Dilbert, but that's not quite the same thing. I think mostly because they've been around for all his mistakes. And like, I mean, it is a stark contrast between the sweet little nerd kid reading a pirate story and then to delinquent who's like, he's never been an aggressive or bad kid, in the sense that I don't see him running around intentionally picking fights or causing problems with people, Jim, that is. But he definitely stopped putting effort in, I think is the way to kind of say it. It's interesting to see him try to find some redemption for that. Like, it's the kid trying to find redemption in this story, which is so interesting.
It's also, that's also, I mean, clearly a big part of the movie is the dynamic between Jim and Silver, and Jim's father issues. That was never something that affected me watching this movie as a child, but the older I get, the worse it is, because like, I mean, my situation is not the same as Jim's by any means, and I think that's one reason why it never really clicked. I'm not gonna get too deep on the episode here. It's just I don't have a great relationship with my dad, but it was never I wanted to get something from him. Like I wanted his approval, and I felt like I couldn't get it, which is Jim's situation. Never had that. I just didn't have the male role model thing, period. And now, like, these movies where, like, so much of that is, like, finding that, it's, like, just reminding me of my deficiencies, which I was not aware of as a child. So, it's, like, it did hit me a little bit more with this, like, relating to Jim and Silver's dynamic. But I'm finding this weird place where, like, I'm not a kid anymore. So, like, I'm, like, weirdly torn between Jim and Silver. Like if I were to encounter a young person who doesn't have that role, like who am I now in this equation? You know, it's like I was just thinking about a lot of this stuff watching this movie. Again, just praising how well it does, because I think you could watch this as a little one and relate to Jim, and I think you could watch this as one of the parents or an uncle or someone and relate to Silver. Hopefully not as a murdering thief, but as far as
we're not looking for that.
Right, but as far as like the unintentional, you know, mentor kind of thing, which is just interesting because I think his is maybe not as fleshed out as Jim, but it is given as much significance, I would argue.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I do kind of like a seconding of that idea. I think the fact that the adult characters, because there's only really one young character in the story, and the fact that they allow this to be a movie run by primarily adult characters is a really, really good move, I think, because young adult literature, it is perfectly understandable and reasonable and makes sense to have young heroes, right? You're trying to make it so the kids can relate to the heroes. You're making it so that they believe in like themselves a lot of the time with action adventure stories. Like that makes perfect sense and it's a good strategy. But I also hate the way that adults tend to be treated in those mediums because a competent adult would do a lot more protecting than hero kids need, right?
Yes.
So there's I think I just want to appreciate the fact that this movie has adult characters that are competent, that genuinely do handle a lot of the situations that come up, and it's still made into a good story. Kind of circling back to Jim's character arc, I do have kind of like a great relationship with my dad, but I still very much crave like approval when I was a kid. Like I felt like this strong need to like prove myself, and I didn't even, as far as I'm aware of, I don't have anything that I did that like needed me to feel guilty or needed me to feel like I had to prove myself. But I just like I wanted to be something, and it still gets me, those scenes where Silver is saying like you've got the makings of greatness in you, or
yeah,
you know,
it's so
like,
good.
When he says that thing about I can't get it right now, but it's at the end and Jim's letting him go and he's like, you're just beaming like a solar sail or something like that, and it's you can see how much it means to Jim. It means a lot to just everybody. It's so good, and it's a pirate saying these things.
It's an animated pirate space parody, and it's so good. It is so good, and we've barely tapped, I think, the number of good things in this movie, and we could talk forever and ever about the things we've already talked about. But it's just it's such a good movie, so good. I want to get to a couple more things that we like, because I do want to talk about some nitpicks for fun. Okay. Another thing I like that I did not catch as a child. To be honest, I don't know if I actually really thought about this until this time. But I like that Morph is a perfect, like, mirror of a parrot.
Like, I'm so glad you said that, because I wrote down somewhere in here, I was like, it's just occurring to me after all these years that Morph is a parrot.
I didn't think about it. Like, That's so cool to turn that, like, parents mimic shit. Turn that up to 11. It can just shapeshift. I love like I don't think I ever thought about that as a kid. I just thought it was a fun shapeshifting alien.
It didn't hit me till the end of the movie when he like literally parroted what somebody said, and I went, "Huh, wait, oh my gosh,
shit!" Like, yeah. But on top of that, not only is that fun, I love so much the loose attention to detail with the conservation of mass. Like when he's the spider psycho, and Jim says a little uglier, and he makes his face bigger, his body gets smaller. When Jim is hitting his head, like when Morph turns into his head and he keeps making more heads, they get smaller and smaller and smaller. Like he only has a certain amount of Morph, and I love that they kept up with that throughout the whole movie. Absolute props, amazing attention to detail. No kid was gonna care about that. They did that for them, and I love that.
No, that's true. That's one example of the things in this world that are just like sometimes you're like, is this movie even really for kids? Because the kids are not seeing all of the stuff that's going into this, and it's amazing. Other things we liked. Let's see. There was something
what's her name? Captain Cat Lady. Is it Amelia something?
Yeah, that sounds right. Hold on, I wrote it down.
I have the thing pulled up here. Look at the cast.
Captain Amelia.
Captain Amelia. She's fantastic. Love her. She kicks real butt.
She's amazing, actually.
Yeah.
And it was such a smart move to add one more female character in all this.
Yes. Because we only had the one, and it's a mom.
Her to not be the hero's love interest, like they could have written in like I don't know, like a young pirate lass.
I think
who
some
falls
people
in love with Jim,
some people aren't gonna like this comparison, but I will die on this hill. This movie could have had a Jasmine, because Aladdin is not about Jasmine. Sure, it's about Jasmine. No, it's not. It's about Aladdin. Yeah. And this like
it's named Aladdin,
right? And in the same, I would argue, in the same way that Mulan and a couple others are our Disney princesses, Jim is one of our Disney princes. He just is. He just is. Like, in the way that that's how they do shit. So, like, you could have thrown in a Jasmine, and you didn't, and I respect it, because that kind of shit, that annoys the heck out of me. I think that puts this movie on a higher tier than a lot of the princess movies people would love more than this, because it had more dedication to, like, a believable story, and not a unnecessary
And I think it's, like, especially in the world we exist in today, and I'm sure in the world that they were writing in, the fact that they decided to focus the emotional depth of the story on a mentor-style relationship is very cool, because that would have been, like, a gamble, because, I mean, there are statistics that back up the idea that if there's a couple that no matter what happens during the film, there's a couple and they ride off together into the sunset, people are more satisfied with the movie than that's like the number one way to improve your satisfaction with a film, which means that movies, and at least movie execs, are motivated to force the couple together at the end, regardless of what might have happened in the story, because it will lead to greater audience satisfaction, higher ratings, the ability to make more money.
Interesting.
So the fact that they just didn't have one, they didn't have a love interest for Jim. They did manage to make a couple, which maybe was the compromise, because Amelia and
I like them though. It was kind of cute. It's dumb because it's cats and dogs, but it was cute.
It's a good pairing because she likes competence, and he does not look to be very competent the first time they meet. Right. And yet he continually
and he's drawn
shows
to adventure
up when she needs him, and it's pretty good. It's great. It's great.
They're real good. They're funny. Also, when I was a kid, I barely understood a thing she said, which is more fun again to watch as an like when she says like, "What did I say, Era? I said to grab the witty before coffee," and he like he says like that long description of how awful the crew is. I didn't catch a single word of that when I was a child, but now as an adult, I was like, that is hilarious, and she's great, and I love her.
That was one of the things I had thought. I was like, are they even making this for kids? Because she and Arrow have conversations that come from the thesaurus. Like, I have not heard some of the words that they spoke in a long time. And I was just like, My word, I am barely keeping up with this as someone who reads a lot.
Uh-huh. Well, I had a
What
question for
kid is?
you as a word person, as a literature person.
Mhm.
I noticed they made the decision because when Delbert and Jim are taken down to the kitchen and they're bitching about Captain Amelia because she's like putting them in their places, her ship, all that stuff. And Arrow is like, I won't take a single word against our captain. She's like, you'll find no better spacer. I'm like, that's interesting that you chose spacer. Clearly similar to sailor, which is fine, but spaceman and seaman really wouldn't be that big of a stretch. I realize some people make jokes with that word. It's just that wouldn't have been. I'm not even being vulgar in this moment, but like,
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting choice that they made to do spacer instead of just spaceman because I mean, they used both back in the day. Like, do you have an opinion on that, or do you have a thought on that? Because like,
Yeah.
my point is like, spacer like isn't a word, you know, but like a spaceman
Yeah.
would have been in this case.
So this, I would say, is an example of how the movie has an excellent understanding and demonstration of lingo.
Mm.
The sailors speak a certain way, and the pirates speak a certain way, and Dr. Delbert speaks a certain way,
Mm.
and it's all about those character choices again, and then sort of at a larger scale, the culture around the characters or what culture they come from. The reason that Amelia and Arrow speak in crazy fancy things is because one, they want them to sound like they have their own language. They want it to
Ah.
sound like they have this kind of like erudite connection, right? They're intelligent, they're educated, and they understand each other, but everyone else is still trying to pick up on what's going on. Um, Even the doctor. And I think the pirates have like a lower, more sort of like slang based like dialogue most of the time where they're using casual terms and all sorts of stuff. All that to say, I mean, the one that crosses the line is Silver actually uses both. Silver is
Mm.
able to converse with the captain and Arrow in the same way that they speak to each other, and he also speaks to his pirates in the way that they speak to each other, which is
Mm.
such a really like it's such a cool detail with the character. You notice it right away. He's just the cook. He's not even like you know, the cook is generally seen as not super important to the crew in the sense that they don't really do any of the sailing. That said, they do provide all the food, so I'm sure they're
Of
everybody's
course, of
favorite, more or
course.
less. But you know, he's just the galley, right? Um, and yet, the first time we meet him, he is very comfortable with the fancy language. That's character choices. But the word spacer is just an attempt to hit those dialects. I would not have, I honestly, I haven't looked, but I would not be surprised if they actually kept count of the syllables and the meter in the dialogue with
Mm.
Arrow and Amelia so that they sounded like they had rhythm. Like I would not be surprised. And
Interesting.
Spacer would probably fit it better than Spaceman. So,
That's fair. Interesting. Okay.
yeah.
I knew you'd have something to say, and I just it was one of those things that I caught, and I just thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I think I noticed the word too, but it just because it hits right, like the rhythm of it is good for what they're
Mm-hmm.
talking about. Yeah, it's very good script, very good script.
Oh yeah, so good. What else? I mean, my goodness. I yeah love the black hole sequence. That's always fun. Tragic that we lose
Mm,
Mr. Arrow.
mm,
I like that Silver is annoyed that Scroop kills Mr. Arrow. I like to
yeah.
think it's not just because it's putting more heat on them, but because like Arrow just was a good guy and Silver kind of has that like layer of honor to him. Like just a little. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if that's really even implicit in the movie. I just kind of took it that way because he never had an issue with Arrow. There's never a scene where there's like conflict between Silver and Arrow, and I wonder though in that case what their plan would have been for the mutiny because like I imagine he could kick some real butt. Big
Mm-hmm.
old rock monster man.
No, he was
Um,
probably the person they needed to take out the most because they could. They can probably control Amelia, and they can definitely control Jim and Dilbert, but they would not
Arrow
have
would
been able to
have put
control
up a fight.
Arrow.
Yeah, they had that one great
So,
big guy that they lost kind of early on, so maybe that was his role to begin
mhm,
with. He was the big
mhm.
muscle. Um, I do have one interesting nitpick, I think, for fun.
Sure.
They're sailing, just spacing, um, on a few month journey, and they have days and night in space. They like just seem to conveniently pass stars that would
Yeah.
create daytime because
Yeah.
like they don't really take
100%.
any Star Trek time to show that they have like artificial sun or anything like that. It's just daytime until it isn't, and then it's
You want to
nighttime
know?
until it stops.
I put some thought into the world. Um, I don't think this makes any real world physics kind of sense, but I was like, how would it be possible for them to sail across space without having some sort of atmosphere like control, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they clearly don't, as far like they just don't set that up at all. They can just breathe in space. And in my mind, it's like the only way that's possible is if maybe it's thin, like really, really thin atmosphere,
Mm,
but there's actually nothing to say that they aren't going through air in the movie. They are away from
that's true.
gravity because they're away from a large body of mass, but they aren't like they don't actually like there's nothing in the movie that indicates they're in a void, actually.
That's true. I always assumed there had to be like some sort of weird pocket of air around the ships, and if they floated
Mhm.
away from them, that's like why it was so upsetting. Like if they drift away, like that's how they die. But I don't know because they don't really. Yeah, because Jim and Air Silver go out on the little skiff, if you will. So either that has its
Mhm.
own pocket of air, or yeah, out in space there just is air. So
Mhm.
interesting.
Which I don't know if they put any thought into that at all. I was just sitting here trying to figure out how it could possibly work, and that was
Yeah,
the only thing I
I
came up
mean,
with.
maybe not. I do like that they took the time to at least think of gravity, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't put that. I wouldn't be upset if they didn't really think about air all that much because
Right,
you can only do
right.
so much before it starts getting a little too technical and less enjoyable.
Well, and it was definitely like a style choice, right? And I like the style, so I don't really want to like I the idea of having like a visible bubble around the ship would
Yeah,
ruin it
that
for
would
me,
yeah that wouldn't be fun.
right? So
Yeah,
it's much
I
cooler that they've made the choice they made.
right. I do like that they took so much time to think about how like the ships would work, or like just for fun, like
Hmm.
the sails absorb the solar energy and it's all transferred to the engines with the like the mast or the main pull there, and
Hmm.
that's so much fun.
Yeah,
They did good stuff.
yeah, definitely. I also I didn't really pick up on this because it's very, very subtle, I would argue. But I think the reason that Sarah is in a financial pinch is because Jim keeps getting in trouble with the law. I think
Hmm.
she had to spend like I mean, if I'm being honest, I just sort of like used the stereotype of a struggling single mother before. But what's interesting is her end seems to be doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
And her inn would pay for their cost of living. Like
Mm-hmm.
they would just eat the food that she's preparing for the guests. They would live in the place, right? Um, the only thing that would be a financial drain on her would be if there's constant legal fees.
That's a good point.
And it would also increase Jim's guilt because previously it's just him being a punk, kind of getting in trouble with the law. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really have, I mean, that's bad for him and it's bad for his mom because it stresses his mom out. But if there was the added element of the fact that he was slowly driving her broke,
It's a good point.
that feels like something that fits without actually being something that I have evidence for.
My
So,
only push on that is just I feel like if that was the main cause, I feel like that would drive Jim to not do it as much because he clearly doesn't want it to fail. The story doesn't have the whole resentment of the family business, doesn't like working at the inn
mhm.
kind of thing. So if he was I can see his kind of character and like where he is in his life hurting it by neglect, but not hurting it repeatedly with because of his actions having like a direct impact on it in that way. I think in the real world, technically, you are absolutely right. My first thought is that it was just either a dual income situation or like the father was bringing in something or was help running it, and over the last what was it supposed to be 6-7 years just by herself, it's just continuously gone downhill because she can't do it by herself. But I don't know.
And I hear that because I agree that I think Jim would not, he would find a way to curb himself if he were actively causing her financial issues. I just the wonder because he's basically a gifted kid with abandonment issues,
Yeah.
which makes his need for approval something wild. Like he doesn't go out like technically the man from what we see doesn't even really commit any crimes. He just
Yeah.
skateboards where he's not supposed to.
How
right?
dare he?
So my guess is he just kept doing things to see if he could do them, and he can't stop that. Like because he's just got so much that he can do. It's boring when he doesn't do anything like that. It feels like it's built up in him. At least that's the typical gifted kid.
I get that though. I can definitely
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
I like that all his little things come full circle. Like he saves the day with one of his little surfboards, and that whole sequence where he saves the day after when Treasure Planet's blown up is fantastic. I mean, we haven't talked about Treasure Planet all that much. Treasure Planet is amazing.
Oh, cool.
And like
Very cool.
the centroid of the mechanism with the big orb of gold. I hate it every time that every single piece of it's gone. I'm at a point now where like I feel like I'm not like you could take me to the Cave of Wonders and I wouldn't give a shit. And you could take me to Smog's Hoard and I'd be like, no dragon sickness for me. But there's something about watching all of Treasure Planet be destroyed that I'm always upset about. It's like, not even a coin? Not one? It always makes me cry.
It's because they successfully build up that idea with at least the Hobbit. The goal is to get their home back, not necessarily the gold. And so the gold is the reason the dragon is there. So there's actually kind of a negative association.
Good point.
And in this one, the treasure is everyone's destination. Like the only people who aren't actively interested in the result of the treasure is Amelia and Arrow. They probably want it to succeed because they want to cut, right? But that's a job for them. Dilbert wants it for the history, and Jim wants it to prove himself and maybe help his mom get out of financial trouble. The pirates want it because it's like the holy grail for them. You know, there's so much about this movie that funnels into we have to get the treasure, and then you get it and you watch as it's totally destroyed.
And it's so
not
cool,
a single
but
thing
it's
is
awful.
saved.
Yeah. And I like how they every time like when Silver's got the ship that's got a bunch of treasure on it, I'm like, that's fine, you've got it, just go. Just go. Like,
Well, and I honestly, that might be another reason why it hurts so bad, because once you see what's happening, right, and you see that Jim's fixing up the ship, you're like, your brain goes, okay, they're not getting all the treasure. A lot of it's probably gonna get destroyed, but at least they'll have the stuff that's on this boat. That's how you expect it to end up. And no, they force Silver to choose between any piece of the treasure, except for whatever he put in his pocket, and Jim. And it's kind of cruel actually for everyone to work that much for it and for them to not really have any piece of it. Crazy.
I'd be upset. And I love that moment too where they hop out and Silver's like, oh, it's just a lifelong obsession, Jimbo, I'll get over it. It's like, will you though? Will you? Yeah. Because I don't know if I could. It would take a while. That'd be rough. That would hurt. That would hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I'm 50-50 on Ben. Ben is fun. Animation is great. Voice actor, of course, is fantastic. What's his name? He's in everything. He's wonderful. Martin Short, that's him. does wonderful. But he is definitely the comic relief character that I don't think we needed, and some of
Yeah,
it is a little annoying, but
I agree.
I'm not like upset about it.
I almost wish for a difference with Ben simply because everything is so close to being perfect, and he
Mm-hmm.
is one piece that's just slightly more out of line than everything else is.
Yeah.
Um, he is supposed to be like his character from Treasure Island is a sailor from the original ship that was
Marooned.
marooned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and he's been on his own for a while, so he's literally like he's
And
lost his mind.
it's
And
brilliant
I
to
like
make
how
him be a
they
robot so that he could be there for
and his
hundreds of
memory is
years.
gone.
Yeah, like I
Like
mean
yes,
they did. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. Like
that's great. And I even like the way that he builds a tenuous relationship with Jim, like the fact that, he's like it's another person who's latched on to Jim, right? Which works really well for what they're trying to do with the themes in the story. Um, but he's just very loud sometimes.
yes.
And I
Yes.
don't know that he needed to be that loud.
Yeah.
It makes you kind of go, ugh, sometimes.
Yeah. If he didn't have such a big heart, I would just outright dislike the character. But it helps
Mhm,
that again
mhm.
he is a sweet guy and he's always trying to help. And then once he gets the memory back, he's immediately less annoying because
Yep.
he's just a dude again. Like he's the
Mhm.
navigator. He's doing the cool shit. And I like that and I appreciate that.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. No, it makes sense. It's fairly well written. I just feel like maybe a little bit of volume editing would have
Yeah,
made a world of
maybe.
difference, you know?
Yeah. Just a tad. Just a tad,
Mhm.
but all
Yeah.
together, man, so good. And like the teleportation map thing, love that. Love how he picks the
Yeah.
spaceport at the last second. Love how they flip through the doors and we see some crazy wild alien worlds for a second. Again, the fun they had just for
Mhm.
those few seconds of animation. All good
Yeah.
stuff. All good stuff. All
It's
great stuff.
so good.
I do also love the joke when they're trying to escape and Delbert's driving poorly and the one alien says we were better off on the exploding planet. I laugh every time.
Yeah. He's
We were better off on exploding planet.
Oh, one thing I wanted to mention, I should have mentioned back when you said that he's actually kind of useful. The doctor has aim. Like the
He
first time he
does.
shoots
He
a
does.
pistol, he can
Yeah.
hit
Did
stuff.
you actually aim for
It's
that?
awesome.
You know, actually, I did.
Thank you. I
Like,
did.
it's so good. And he has abnormally tiny wrists. Like that's always fun as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. No, it's a fantastic twist for the bumbling professor character to
Mm,
also have some skill or at the very least luck when it comes to situations like that. Like what a fun idea, especially
yeah.
when you're going to take out Arrow and your captain is
Yeah.
going to be like dealing with a lot slash seriously wounded, right? So
Mm-hmm.
cool fun thing there to make him a little bit more engaging.
Yeah. Ugh. So I just keep thinking of more things. You had mentioned before like the way things are framed and shot. The way Silver
Mhm.
poses and they raise the pirate flag and it's behind him. Beautiful. Beautiful shot.
So good.
Fantastic shot.
I mean, this movie is very good at the details.
It is.
I mean, um, even to the point where oh, I don't remember the crab spider guy's name right
Mr.
now.
Scroop.
Scoop or something. Scroop, there we go. He when he's chasing Jim around because he's found Jim on the ship
Mm-hmm.
and they're falling up the mast because of the gravity thing, and it looks like Jim might be able to grab the pistol, he's holding on to the flag, and he misses it and it goes away. Like once again, that's something that you thought was going to be the solution, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not. They deny him that. He still manages to figure it out. I like that they don't drag it out too long, right? But it's like that sort of storytelling is so engaging where they present you a solution to the problem and then they take it away
Oh yeah.
and
Oh
like the
yeah.
solution and they take it away, right? Like it's mean but it works
Mm-hmm.
really well. It makes you feel very engaged in what's happening in the story.
Very true.
Mm.
Love Treasure Planet. I do wish though, despite my earlier rant, that they would do it like live action. I would love to see it. I don't like assuming you do it well. I don't think it's like something that should be untouched and like I think this could shine in live action. It would look incredible. I don't know what I'd go back and tweak. Like, I don't want a shot for shot remake, but I would love to see this like brought to life, that next level, and just go all out with it again. And it would make $1 billion. Like it would be so good.
Well, what's funny is it's pretty popular now, but I wonder how many people who are not into movies have seen it. Because I feel like if you're into movies, especially if you're in like our generation or younger,
Mm-hmm.
going through that sort of like underrated Disney catalog is pretty common, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not into movies and you've just like you just watch whatever's out in theaters or whatever seems like it's going to be popular or hot, then you've not experienced Treasure Planet. And I almost wonder if they just did a little advertising and re-released it in a theaters, how much attention it would get. Because again, they intentionally sabotaged it on its opening weekend so that it wouldn't make enough money to be financially feasible, so that they wouldn't have to invest the money into that kind of animation again. And so like if they actually gave it a fair shake in theaters today, I just wonder what the response would be.
And I think that'd be a brilliant idea to see, but I also feel like it's not. If I were to give them the benefit of the doubt, it's definitely not a thought process of, well, I don't know how many regular viewers would go see it. Because what regular viewer is going to go watch the Mufasa prequel? Like, that's not even based on anything. Like, that's insane that they feel comfortable and confident doing that.
But I don't want to talk about the Mufasa sequel.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know.
Well, whatever it is, I don't care.
It has a critic score of 69. I'm a little surprised by that. I can't really think of
That's
anything
low.
necessary. I would think so too. It's only 150 reviews, which on Rotten Tomatoes is not a lot. Audience score at 72 with over 50,000. But I can't think of.
Low, in my opinion.
I think so too. Like I can't think of many things that are like wrong with it for what it is. It's a kids movie, a well done kids movie, a beautiful kids movie that you have a lot of fun with. I mean, it's pretty damn good. I think the only thing that maybe quote unquote dates it has 2 sequences with lyrical music, which with the guitar it sounds very early 2000s. I don't think it's bad. Some movies are way more dateable. They do.
Songs are good.
They do. But that's the only thing. Like otherwise, I'd say this is a timeless movie.
Yeah, I those songs definitely date it in the sense that it puts it at a very specific moment in time because of the trend of music then, especially like movie music. So I agree with you on that. But I do feel like the songs are used well in the storytelling.
Oh yeah.
And like they really make you feel it. And for this movie to be so emotional, and it's about a kid on a pirate ship looking for treasure. Like this is such a cool, unique coming of age story. It's such a really cool like mentorship relationship thing they have going on. Like it's just this movie is doing it has stuff that no other movies seem to have, at least not in combination like this one does. And it's done so well. It's so interesting, it's so engaging, it's so beautiful to look at. The story is consistent to itself, the world is consistent to itself. It's I mean, I'm not going to say it's well, I was going to say I'm not going to say it's a perfect film because there are things potentially to improve, but
it's pretty damn close.
That's true. There is I mean anything I can think about changing, like I said earlier, Ben is the only one that kind of stands out. And that's like a preference thing. Like in terms of a story and in terms of like trying to make a good movie, I think they hit it out of the park. Like I can't think of a single thing I would add or take away from this movie to make it better, because it's just good as it is, which is part of maybe the challenge of adapting it. There's no way to make it interesting in another version, you know.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
I also agree that like they're cowards. They can't make good adaptations anyway of their own content, at least. So
They were doing it there for a second, but whatever. Also, I've never really had to think about this, but again, because of the studio it comes from, I'm so glad it's not a musical. Because I stand by that makes it a stronger movie. I know of that guy that you talk about who says the next step up from talking is singing for whatever reason, but like I think in movies it makes it less believable, less impactful. So it's
would not have been good as a musical. This wouldn't. No, it, absolutely not. No.
'tis a whale.
No, I think Space Whale.
'Tis a space whale.
Yeah.
Whatever they called those things. It has space whales in there. I don't remember what they're called. They're basically gormaganders.
Is it not space whales?
No, he says something silly and scientific like
I guess
Cosmo Orca something or other. Let me
that sounds right.
treasure
That sounds right.
planet space whale. There it is. No, not spaceship, space whale. They are
Obviously,
called. It's Orcus Galacticus. I was close.
Yeah.
Orcus Galacticus. Anything else to add though? I mean, we've talked about this for an hour now, and I was not upset about it.
It's an amazing film, and if you haven't seen it, no one's listening at this point.
Of course
but
not.
if you somehow are still here, or you like randomly click to this moment in the video, go watch Treasure Planet. Like,
Do it.
It's such a good use of your time. Like, just sit down and watch it and appreciate how awesome it is.
Mm-hmm. That's us. Thanks for listening. If you listened, on to the next traditional experimental animation Disney adventure exploratory thing. These won't all be Disney, so I don't know why I included Disney.
We are kind of doing like an adventure theme, though.
Yeah, it's basically Weird Little Nerd goes on an adventure.
That's so true.
Yep. Well, on to the next. It'll let me.